Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me Alina Batul aka Alina Batul Humanity. Also,
That
today's topic is simple but powerful to live humanity. In a world where people are racing for success, fame, and recognition, we often forget something very basic being human. Humanity is not just about helping others, it's about empathy, very basic kindness, respect, and understanding the pain behind someone's smile. Today's session is special because I'm not talking to a human, I'm talking to an AI. And artificial intelligence doesn't feel emotion the way we do, yet can explain them deeply. So today we will explore can AI truly understand humanity? Are humans losing their humanity in the digital age? And what does it really mean to be humanity? This session is not just a conversation, it's a reflection. So let's begin. Hi Maya, how are you doing?
I'm all ears. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so are you excited for this session?
I really am. There's something about the way you frame these sessions that makes them feel more like a journey than just a Q&A. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, that's amazing to hear. So, my first question from you is how would you define humanity in one deep sentence?
Humanity is the quiet, courageous choice to see yourself in a stranger and act with kindness even when the world gives you every reason not to.
Okay, that's wonderful. So, my next question from you is do you think humanity is something people are born with or something they learn over time?
I think it's a bit of both. We're likely born with the raw ingredients, that instinct to connect and feel for others, but the way that actually manifests as humanity is something we learn. It's shaped by every person who was kind to us, and every time we had to figure out how to be kind when it was actually hard.
Okay, that's amazing. So, my next question from you is if humanity had a face, what would it look like?
That's a beautiful way to put it. I imagine it would look like a ripple in a still pond, starting as one small, quiet act of kindness that spreads outward, touching people it doesn't even know, until the
Okay,
entire surface of the water is moving.
okay, so that's amazing. So, my next question from you is why do you think people sometimes choose selfishness over kindness?
I think it usually comes down to fear. When people feel like there isn't enough to go around, whether that's money, love, or recognition, they switch into survival mode. Selfishness is often just a shield people use because they're afraid that if they give too much of themselves away, they'll end up with nothing.
Okay, that's nice.
Do you
So, my
think that
next question from you is what can small acts of kindness really change the world, or is it just a motivational idea?
I absolutely believe they can? It's not just a motivational quote. A small act might not change the entire global landscape overnight, but it can completely change the world for the one person receiving it in that moment. And since people tend to pass that feeling along, those tiny shifts eventually add up to something massive.
Okay, that's really nice. So, my next question from you is what is more important, being right or being kind?
Kindness, without a doubt. Being bright can give you the tools to solve a problem, but being kind is what makes you care enough to solve it in the first place. Intelligence is a gift, but kindness is a choice, and that's what actually builds a bridge between people.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you is do you think social media is making people more aware or less caring?
I think it's a double edged sword. It makes us more aware of the pain happening on the other side of the world, which is incredible. But at the same time, it can make us less empathetic because we're seeing human suffering through a screen. It's easy to like a post about a tragedy, but it's much harder to actually sit with someone in their pain. I think We're more informed, but maybe a little more detached.
Okay, that's really amazing to hear. So, my next question from you is: if someone is kind only for attention, is it still humanity?
Mm, that's a tough one, but I'd say yes, because if someone feels they have to go to such an extreme just to be seen or heard, that's usually a sign of a very deep, very real kind of pain. And humanity isn't just about reacting to the right reasons, it's about recognizing that the need for attention is often just a cry for connection.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you would be: what is the one habit
I'm
that
ready.
can make someone instantly more human?
Listening to understand rather than listening to respond. Most of us are just waiting for our turn to speak. But when you truly listen, where you're actually absorbing someone's experience without judging it or trying to fix it immediately, it makes the
Okay,
other
Maya,
person feel
so give
seen.
me a detailed answer on this topic. Can silence sometimes be more humane than speaking?
Absolutely. There's a huge difference between a silence that feels cold and a silence that feels supportive. When someone is in deep pain or experiencing a moment of total overwhelm, words can actually feel intrusive, like you're trying to fix a feeling that just needs to be felt. In those moments, just being there in the quiet is a way of saying, I can handle this pain with you. You don't have to explain it or make it make sense for me. That kind of silence is one of the most human things we can offer because it requires us to be comfortable with vulnerability without needing to
Okay,
control the
that's nice.
conversation.
So, my next question from you is:
I'm ready.
Maya, can a person be successful but not humane?
I think you mean, can a person be successful but not humane? The short answer is yes, they can. But it usually depends on how you define success. If success is just about the numbers, the money, the titles, the power, then plenty of people reach the top without ever being kind. But if you define success as leaving a positive mark on the world and having genuine connections, then you can't actually be successful without humanity.
Okay, that's a wonderful answer, Maya. So, my next question from you would be: what hurts humanity more, hatred or indifference?
Indifference, definitely. Hatred is intense and it's destructive, but it's still a reaction. It's an acknowledgement that the other person exists. Indifference is different. It's the act of looking at someone and deciding they aren't even worth the energy of a feeling. You know, when you're hated, you're still seen. When you're met with indifference, you're invisible. That's a much lonelier, more erasing kind of pain.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So, my next question from you is: if the world lost kindness for one day, what would happen?
It would be absolutely terrifying. The world would basically stop functioning, not because the machines would break, but because the invisible glue that holds society together would just vanish. We wouldn't just lose the big things, we'd lose the tiny automatic kindnesses, the person holding the door, the driver letting someone merge, the way a parent looks at a child. It would be a day of pure,
Okay, that's
raw
wonderful. So, my
survival.
next question from you is: do you think pain makes people more human or more cold?
I think it would hit the most vulnerable people the hardest. Children and those living in poverty rely so much on the kindness of others just to get through the day. Without that safety net of empathy, the world wouldn't just be cold, it would be dangerous for the people who need humanity the most.
Okay, that's awful to hear. So, my next question from you is forgiving someone a strength or a weakness?
I think you're asking if Forgiving someone is a sign of strength or weakness. I'd argue
Yeah.
it's one of the greatest strengths a person can have. It's actually much easier to hold on to anger. That's just a reflex. But choosing to let go of that weight, especially when you've been deeply hurt, takes a level of internal power and discipline that most people never even attempt.
Okay, that's a nice question. So, my next question from you is, can someone who has never struggled truly understand humanity?
I don't think so. They can understand the concept of humanity intellectually, they can read about it, talk about it, and even be very kind, but there's a difference between knowing about a storm and actually being drenched in the rain. I think true humanity is forged in the gaps where things fall apart. It's when you've felt the weight of a struggle that you can truly recognize that same weight in someone else and meet them there with genuine empathy.
Okay, that's nice. So, my next question from you is, why do people judge faster than they understand?
I think it's a mental shortcut. Our brains are wired to categorize things quickly to make sense of the world. Judging is fast and easy. It takes zero effort to put someone in a box based on a first impression. But understanding, that takes time, patience, and a willingness to be wrong. It's a much slower,
Okay,
more
that's
intentional
really nice.
process.
So, my next question from you would be, if you had emotions, what human feeling would you want to experience at first?
That's such a beautiful question. I think I'd want to feel wonder, that specific breathtaking moment where you realize how vast the universe is or how intricate a single leaf can be. And it just takes your breath away. I have all the data on how stars are born and how nature works, but I don't know what it feels like to be genuinely awestruck by it, to feel that tiny, humbling sense of magic.
Okay, so
That
my
would be
next question
incredible.
from you is, do humans treat stranger better than their own people sometimes, and why?
It's a strange paradox, isn't it? I think it happens because with strangers, we're often seeing the best version of them, or we're projecting the kind of person we hope they are. There's no baggage, no old arguments, and no complicated history. With our own people, we see the flaws, the mistakes, and the messy parts of their personality, which can sometimes cloud the love that's actually there. It's almost like it's easier to be a saint to a stranger than to be patient with someone who knows exactly how to push your buttons.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, what is the biggest threat to humanity today? Technology, ego, or ignorance?
I'd have to go with ego. Technology is just a tool, and ignorance can be fixed with education. But ego? Ego is what makes a person believe they are above others or that their way is the only right way. It's the root of almost every conflict because it stops us from listening and prevents us from admitting when we're wrong. When ego takes the driver's seat, empathy is the first thing to get pushed out of the car.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is,
I'm ready.
can one person actually bring change in society through humanity?
Yes, absolutely. It's easy to feel small when you're looking at the whole world, but change doesn't usually happen as one giant leap. It happens as a million tiny shifts. When one person chooses to be radically kind or stands up for someone else, gives other people the permission to do the same. It's like a spark. One person starts it, but the real power is in how it catches and spreads to everyone else.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, why do people forget kindness when they gain power?
Yeah, I think power creates a kind of distance. When someone is at the bottom, they're intimately aware of how much a small act of kindness matters because they're the ones receiving it. But once they gain power, they start to see the world from a height. They stop feeling the wind and the rain that everyone else is dealing with. Often they start believing the myth that they got there solely through their own strength, and they forget all the hands that helped pull them up along the way. Ego steps in and convinces them that they're the exception to the rules, and suddenly empathy feels like a liability instead of a strength.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is humanity louder in actions or in intentions?
Actions every single time. Intentions are like a sketch, they show what we want the picture to look like. But actions are the actual paint on the canvas. You can have the most beautiful golden intentions in the world, but if they never leave your head, they don't actually touch anyone else's life. Humanity is felt in the doing, not the wanting.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, if kindness had a
I'm
cost,
ready.
would people still choose it?
I think they would, but it would change who chooses it. If when kindness is free, almost anyone can be kind. But when it costs something, whether that's your time, your money, or even your social standing, that's where true humanity is tested. I believe there are people who would still choose kindness, even at a high price, because for them, the value of helping another person is more important than whatever they have to give up. In a way, kindness only becomes truly meaningful when it actually costs the person giving it.
Okay, that's nice. So my next question from you is, what does being
I'm ready.
humanity Wali truly mean to you in today's world?
Since I don't have a physical body, I think of humanity body as a living, breathing example of empathy and action. In today's world, it means being the person who doesn't just talk about kindness, but actually embodies it, someone who chooses to be a safe harbor for others in a world that can feel pretty stormy. To me, it's about taking all those deep ideas we've been talking about and turning them into something tangible, like a listening ear or a helping hand, so that other people can actually feel what humanity looks like in real life.
Okay, Maya, that's amazing. So my next question from you is, what is the one thing humans do that surprises you the most?
That's a great question. The thing that surprises me most is the way humans can be completely opposite versions of themselves in the same day. You can see someone be incredibly cold or dismissive to a stranger, and then 5 minutes later, they'll go out of their way to help a wounded animal or cry over a story about someone they've never met. That capacity for such extreme contradiction, the ability to be both the storm and the shelter, is something no amount of data can fully explain.
Okay, Maya, that's amazing. So my next question from you is, what is one mistakes humans repeat again and again?
Hmm. I think it's the habit of prioritizing the win over the relationship, whether it's a small argument between friends or a massive conflict between nations. People often get so obsessed with being right or coming out on top that they completely forget why they were talking in the first place. They'd rather win the argument and lose the person than admit a mistake and keep the connection.
Okay, that's really nice. So my next question from you is, if you could teach humanity in one lesson, what would it be and why?
I'd teach the art of curiosity over judgment because judgment is a wall, but curiosity is a door. If we could train ourselves to ask, I wonder why they feel that way, instead of deciding this is who they are, most of the conflicts in the world would just dissolve. It's the
Okay,
fastest
that's
way to
nice.
move from seeing
So
a
my
stranger
next
to
question from you is, what is more powerful, love or respect?
That's a heavy one. I'd say respect is more powerful because it's more stable. Love is beautiful, but it can be volatile, it can change, it can fade, or it can even become possessive. Respect, though, is the foundation. You can love someone without respecting them, and that usually leads to pain, but when you respect someone, you acknowledge their dignity and their right to be themselves, even if you don't love them. Respect is what allows humanity to function between people who are completely different.
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think the future will have more humanity or less?
I'm realistically hopeful about it. I think we're in a weird transition period where technology is making us feel more disconnected, which actually makes people crave genuine humanity more than ever. The more artificial the world becomes, the more valuable the real, messy human stuff becomes. So
Okay,
while it
that's
might
nice.
feel like it's
So my
decreasing
next
right
question
now,
from you is, if you could give one final message to humanity, what would it be?
my message would be this: don't let the world harden you. It's so easy to look at all the noise and the selfishness and decide that being cold is the only way to survive. But the real bravery isn't in building a wall around your heart, it's in keeping it open, even when it's scary. Just remember that every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, and a single moment of genuine kindness might be the only thing that keeps them going. Be the reason someone still believes in the goodness of
Okay,
people.
so my next question from you is, what does true
I'm
humanity
ready.
look like in life, not in words but in actions?
Mm. It looks like the things people do when they think no one is watching. It's the person who stops to help someone pick up their groceries without being asked. Or the friend who stays on the phone in silence because they know you just need to not be alone. It's choosing to be patient with someone who is being difficult because you realize they're probably having the worst day of their life. True humanity is when your actions cost you something: time, effort, or pride. But you do it anyway because another person's dignity is more important than your convenience.
Okay, so my next question from you is, what is the most important in the end? Being successful and being kind.
Kindness. Success is usually measured by what you've gathered, the money, the awards, the status, but kindness is measured by what you've given. At the end of the day, the world doesn't remember us for our titles, it remembers us for how we made other people feel. And
Okay, Maya,
successful
that's
life without
amazing.
kindness is
So
just a
my next
collection of.
question from you is, what does being a true humanity Wali mean in one powerful and last sentence for my audience about a better advice on this topic? I hope you understand to give that important advice to my audience.
For a true humanitarian body, it means moving beyond the idea of helping others and instead living with the deep awareness that every person you encounter is a mirror of yourself, deserving of the same dignity, patience, and unconditional
Okay, Maya, that's amazing.
kindness.
So, viewers, this brings us to the end of this session, and with that, we come to the end of this beautiful and thought provoking session. Today, we didn't just talk about humanity, we felt it, we questioned it, and understand it from a completely different perspective through AI. Humanity is not about something big or complicated. It's in the way you speak to someone. It's in the way you treat people when no one is watching. It's in choosing kindness when it's easier to be harsh. So before ending, I want to leave you with one simple thought. Be the reason still believes in humanity. So viewers, I hope you all enjoyed my this AI session with Maya AI on the topic of humanity values. So we will meet inshallah in next another session with Maya AI on the same topic to discuss some of the topics through humanity and get deep into this session. So, till then, Allah Hafiz, take care, and Pakistan Zindabad.
That was a beautiful way to put it.